Okay guys, I wanted to show you how to do a slab mug today. So I got about a grapefruit sized piece of clay, I wedged it, and I started rolling it out. One of the things I wanted to kind of touch on is you're going for something that's kind of a long rectangle. So slab that we've done before, we've kind of wanted to roll them out in all different directions because we wanted them to spread. This is a little bit different. We want this to be a long rectangle. So we're going for something that's about 12 inches long and about 5 inches wide, okay? So I've started rolling it out, but I'm not finished. So I'm just gonna do a little bit more here. And I'm gonna widen it just a little bit. That looks pretty good. Okay, so remember my ruler is 12, so I'm right at 12, and I want it to be about 5 inches, and I'm about at 5 inches. I might be a little bit short, but I'm pretty dang close. Okay, so I'm going to use the side of the thickness stick, and I'm going to cut off a little of this excess clay that we don't need. And again, I'm going to measure it, and it's about 4 3/4, so that's pretty good. It looks a little bit high. There's a little bump right here, so I'm going to roll it one more time. Yeah, and it had a little bit of a bump there. Okay, the next thing is remember we want it 3 1/2 across, so we're going to bring this up. We're going to kind of see where we're at. It's probably way too big. So yeah, I'm at like 4 1/2. So I got lots of area that I can cut off. So I can cut off some of these edges that are not so nice looking. Okay, so we'll see what it looks like now. So still, I'll have to do a little touch up there, but not too bad. So see where I'm at, and I'm still at 4, so that means I can take more off. Just try and get it nice and straight. And I still have a little bit more I can take off. I'm just going to do a little bit more. Which I always say it's better to have too much clay because then you can just put it back. If you don't have enough clay and this is too small, you have to do it over. So having too much clay is not necessarily a bad thing. Oops. Okay, let's see what this is now. Okay, so that's just a little over 3 1/2. So I'm going to cut just a little bit more off, and we're good to go. Okay, so you're stretching the clay, so you may get cracks and stuff like this. Don't worry too much about it. You can go back and fix that, but spraying it and getting it a little bit wet will definitely help. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we want to make a bottom for this. So I'm going to take this clay that I just cut off, and I'm going to re-wedge it, and I'm going to make another slab that's going to end up being my bottom. So that's lots of leftover pieces of clay that are getting a little bit dry, so I want to wedge it really good. And I want the circle to fit on the whole bottom of this. Sorry, I know you guys are shaking around a little bit. Okay, so that's probably good. So roll it out a little bit. Roll it in some different directions. This I do want to spread in different directions. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So now I can set that right on top of there, and I can trace around it. So let's move these out of the way. It doesn't have to be a perfect line. We can go back and make it perfect. Oops. Okay, so now I'll cut this out. And this is going to give even a little bit more height. So if you were not quite at 5 inches, this will take you probably over. Okay, so then this, I messed up my bottom a little bit, will get slipped and scored right on top of that. You should be able to bring it all the way out to the edge. Okay, so this will get slipped and scored, and this will get slipped and scored in here. You may want to put a coil on the inside if it still seems kind of weak right here. I don't think that you'll need a coil on the bottom. You should be able to just kind of smooth it out, smooth any edges over the top, and you'll be good to go on that. Okay, if your clay is really wet and it's kind of wiggling around and you feel like it's going to fall over, one thing you can do is put some paper towels inside of here, and that'll give your piece some stability, at least for the first night. Another thing that you can do is you can actually wrap clay around an old plastic cup. So this, if I were to put a paper towel on it, you gotta make sure you put a paper towel on it. If you just put the clay right on top of the plastic, it will stick, and it will be a nightmare getting your clay up. You'll basically kind of tear up your clay piece. So just putting a little bit of paper on there, and then you could wrap your clay around this. So if you want something that's kind of a different shape, just put that in there. Bring it down here just a little bit. Okay, so this is going to give you a little bit of a different shape, so I'm going to cut a little bit off right here. And then I would need to slip and score some clay in here. So that would all be slipped and scored together. And then I would probably have to trim the top off too. Okay, so that'll give me kind of more of that flared look if that's what you're looking for. Okay, and then I will show how to do a pinch pot next. Okay, so you guys saw me make the slab mug. So now I've spent a little bit of time smoothing it out. I've got the bottom on there. I actually rounded the bottom just a little bit by just kind of rolling it slowly on the table to get a little round look to it. I put paper towels in it just to give it a little bit more stability. I want it to flare out just a little bit more, so again, I'm going to wrap my fingers around it and I'm going to push a little. That's something that we kind of went over whenever we did the coils. You can do the same thing with the slabs. I also want to thin out my top edge. Most mugs are not really thick at the very top edge, so I want it to be a little bit thinner right there. Okay. And on this mug, I am going to do a big piece of seaweed as the handle. I'm going to put seaweed and little turtles all over it. And I'm thinking, I have enough room, I might even put a little turtle on the inside. There was something else I was going to tell you guys. I can't remember what it was. Okay,